All right, so hi everyone, my name is Sue Bao. Today I'm going to present the work that I did with my colleagues and my mentor, Dr. Tiffany Hogan, about literacy loss in, in kindergarten children during COVID-19 school closures. Dr. Hogan is with us today too, and we will be answering questions together at the end. So this work is under review now, and that the full paper is found on the link, on the preprint link over here. So before we start, here's a brief background of myself. I completed my master's degree in communication science and disorders at Mass General Hospital Institute of Health Professions in 2018. I then went back to the IHP the next year and started my PhD in rehabilitation sciences. I'm currently a doctoral research fellow at the Speech and Language Cell Literacy Lab at the IHP. Okay. The focus of my presentation today is literacy loss in children during COVID-19 school closures. Here's a screenshot of the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization website that tracks COVID-19 related school closures around the world from February to March. Pink here means localized school closures and purple means countrywide school closures. By April 15th, 2020, more than 1.5 billion students worldwide experienced school closures in an effort to slow the spread of COVID-19. In the United States, more than 130,000 schools closings impacted almost 57 million children. All 50 states in the US had closed their schools for at least 3 weeks, and 49 states have closed all public and private schools for the rest of the 2019 and 20 academic year. A typical school year in the US has 180 days. In most states, children are out of school half as much as they were in school this academic year, about 92 days. Here's a map that shows current school closure status in the US. So how will COVID-19 school closures affect children's literacy skills? Will they gain as usual, or will they lose some skills? How can we investigate and estimate the effect of COVID-19 school closures on literacy? There's no study looking at literacy loss in kindergarten children during school closures in pandemics. So we decided to look at another period of year where no formal education is provided and schools are closed. That's the summer vacation. The effect of school closures on academic achievements has been well studied in summer month. This well-documented summer slump showed that children lost the equivalent of approximately 1 month of literacy skills when they are out of school during summer break. The slump in literacy achievement is reduced by attending summer schools, visiting libraries, and/or participating in literacy-rich summer-based activities. But the problem here is children can't really go out or gather during COVID. So we want to examine the impact of home activity to children for reducing predicted literacy loss, such as book reading, which is commonly considered as a simple and low-tech solution to literacy loss. So the data we used in this study were drawn from the Early Childhood Longitudinal Study, kindergarten class of 2010 to 11, also called ECLSK 2011, sponsored by the National Center of Education Statistics in the US. The ECLSK 2011 followed 18,170 children who started kindergarten in the 2010 to 11 school year and measured children's ability in reading and language and collected data from parents, teachers, and schools. Because the process compressed a battery of assessments of reading and language, we referred to the composite as literacy ability. During data screening and cleaning, we excluded the participant that had incomplete key information, such as school skill scores, parent questionnaire answers, etc. And after cleaning, we ended up with 3,170 samples. Because children cannot be measured during summer, we obtained the rate of literacy change using the literacy scale score from 4 assessments shown over here, taken during kindergarten fall, kindergarten spring, first grade fall, and first grade spring over here. So using a multivariate linear regression model, we calculated the rate of literacy change during kindergarten spring semester at 7.23 points per 100 days across the nation. The rate of gain in literacy scores without formal education decreased to 2.41 points per 100 days, significantly lower than their rate of gain during the spring semester. Using these projections, comparing children's literacy ability during the time with or without formal education, we concluded that children beginning first grade this fall will have 67% less literacy skill than they would have had without COVID-19 school closures. Most of the states in the United States ordered school closures during the week of March 16th. We predicted that the average gain of kindergarten literacy score during the 2019 to 20 academic year will decrease to 16.5 standardized scores, with school closed in mid-March until the end of the academic year. So as I mentioned before, many activities prone to mitigate the literacy loss during school closures, such as summer schools, visits to libraries, and summer literacy activities are not available because of COVID-19 closures. So we looked at the fact of reading books to children at home, an activity that can be accomplished during COVID-19 closures. Results from the regression model showed that the more frequently children were read to, the more literacy ability they gained during COVID-19 school closures, the less they were lost comparing to they would have had achieved without COVID-19 school closures. The children whose parents never read to them had the lowest gain of rate, about negative 1.42 points per 100 days of summer, shown in green line over here and here. Compared to children who had books read to them every day, they gain about 2.94 points per 100 days, shown in yellow lines over here and over here. So based on these projections, we predicted that children whose parents read to them every day will gain 4.7 points during COVID-19 school closures, whereas children whose parents never read to them will lose 2.3 points during the same period of time. Using the current regression model, we concluded that reading books at home every day during the COVID-19 school closure period will result in 40% of the expected literacy increase if a children was participating in business as usual spring kindergarten semester with formal education experience. Okay. So from here, we concluded that literacy ability loss is highly correlated with the interruption of formal education, both in the summer and during the COVID-19 school closures. Our results are consistent with previous studies on summer slump. Many schools are now trying to provide education efforts such as remote learning to mitigate the loss, but not all children can benefit from their effort. Limited resources from this type of learning, such as computers, tablets, educational applications, remote learning platforms, quiet space, internet access, etc., are more likely than lack of books for daily reading, especially for children living in low socioeconomic status families. Reading with children daily is a low-tech strategy to prevent the adverse consequences of COVID-19 school closures while strengthening family bonds. We are not saying book reading itself can compensate all literacy loss from COVID-19 school closures, but it's a feasible way to mitigate some of the loss. And with an anticipated second wave of COVID-19 cases, many states have slowed down or paused their reopening plans. Our study predicted 67% loss of literacy abilities in children entering first grade, assuming schools will reopen in the fall semester. However, if schools remain closed or reopen partially, based on our current prediction, the adverse effect of school closures will be more pronounced. And formal schooling through active online learning will likely yield the greatest maintenance of literacy skills, but until schools have robust evidence-based system for delivering high-quality online learning, reading to children is an effective low-tech alternative, which could also promote the lost book and social emotional connections between parents and children. There are also many benefits of advantages of reading aloud. Previous studies showed kindergarten children who have limited ability to read independently depend on adults read aloud to provide access to books through read aloud. These read aloud provides book language, which is higher in sentence complexity and school vocabulary than conversation and oral storytelling. Reading aloud also provide an opportunity to practice word reading and interaction with text around letters and sounds, even if reading the same book multiple times. We hope that our results will inform policymakers, educators, and parents as they make decisions about how best to stimulate literacy skills during school closures, which is a likely staple of formal education during future pandemics. Okay, here's our, I think we're leaving all the questions to the end, right?
Yes.
Yes.
We will leave all the questions to the group discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.